Good morning. Today we are going to try and add some walls to the shower tray that we put in last time. I have been sat in the van only about 30 minutes this morning doing what I do best, which is looking at a wall and thinking, how am I going to do this? Alright, we are using this beautiful green poplar 15mm plywood. We chose this primarily, that doesn't sound right. We chose this because we got it cheap. We got a bunch of it cheaper than it should have been, so we went with it. But we do actually really love the green colour. On my mission to not frame anything, we're going to try to not frame this shower, which is going to sound mental. If you've watched any YouTube videos on building the showers, they always frame it. But because we're using this 15mm solid ply, then we should be able to just use this for the majority without framing. Alright, so there's obviously 4 sides to the shower. That's going to be the back, and then there's 3 that we have to put in. But there are little bits of added stuff. So on this side, we're going to do a double wall essentially. So this, can you see? Yes. This will be the inside of the shower, and then there's going to be a 2-inch gap, which I'm just going to use some battens for. A 2-inch gap like that, and then another one of these on the other side. So the inside one will be the inside of the shower plus cladding, whatever we choose to clad it with. Then the gap, so we can fit the cables through the gap, and on the outside, so if you're coming into the van from here, you'll see a switchboard with all the switches that will control everything in the van. So that's the outside of this wall here, one of them in the middle, and then that on the inside of the shower. I hope that makes any sense whatsoever. Essentially, all that gap is for is to get all the cables that we need into the middle and out into the switchboard. So that's one little difficulty that I've got to figure out and work around. The next one is obviously the front of the shower going up here, but we need to put a door in, so we need to know the size of the door. So that will need to be cut out. Then on this side, if I turn you around a little bit, on this side, that's going to be the wall, but there is also going to be, down here, where you can't see, there's also hopefully going to be a pull-out toilet coming from this way, so it pulls out into the shower, which means I need to sort of add up where the hole for that is going to go as well. On top of all that, I have to also work out how to screw this together. I think I'm just going to use pocket holes on the inside of the shower, because obviously the inside we're going to clad, so you won't see any of the holes, so that doesn't matter. I don't want to be screwing from the outside in, because I don't want to see screw holes or screws. And I just need to work out where these little, where the battens are going to go in between, and I think we might have to put a batten on the side, the other side wall, just to give that a little bit of support as well. Because you've got to remember, there's only so many places, if we're not building a frame, which is the downside of building a frame, if we're not building a frame, there's only so many places that the walls are going to be able to attach to. We can attach to the floor, we can attach to each other, but I need to attach it to this as well at somewhere, maybe even the ceiling, but I don't think we'll need to. I think we should, from the 3 walls when it's all together, I think we should get enough support that there's no movement, it's all solid, and it'll be fixed down, and once we get the cladding in, it'll be whole waterproofed and perfect. Once again, don't take any advice from me, I don't know what I'm doing. Roll VT. Right, I'm starting off just with these. I've just got some 2x2 inch battens. You call them 2x2 inch in this country, but they never are. I don't understand if it's just the way we work things. They are 45mm. So I'm thinking, put one on the floor and fix it to the floor down there, and then that will fix to the outside of it, and one on the ceiling on the roof, if you can see, one up there like that, and then that will give a bit of support from the bottom and the top that's solid, and then in the middle maybe just one or two somewhere here, making sure I've got space for the cables to come out and go into the switchboard. And I think that should be it as far as framing goes. And then we've just got to work out how to connect everything together. I'm just going to drill a pilot hole and some little countersinks through these battens before I drill them down, because this is just pine. It's just a pine beam, so I don't want to run the risk of splitting it and weakening it. And for the sake of 2 minutes to drill a little pilot hole, it's a no-brainer. So this little offcut that I've got, I'm going to use as a bit of a template. That will essentially be the inside wall. Then there'll be a batten, which I'm going to put and fix down now, and then another one of these on the outside wall. So I will, well, I'll get that out of the way. Drill these first, and then I'll fix it down. Alright, that's in, that's fixed. It's not going anywhere, and that should fit snugly in there. Perfect. Happy days. Right, let's do the same on the roof. After snapping 2 screws, I've realised what the mistake was that I was doing, was that the pilot hole I drilled in the metal was too small for the screws. I did not think about that, I just drilled a small hole. So I have drilled a correct size pilot hole, and now we should be able to screw in. I've tested it and it does work. I've got one more hole to drill, one more pilot hole, because I've had to move that because I've got a thread stuck in the wood. So new hole, hopefully this goes through and we shouldn't have any issues. I went to the shop and got some different screws because I thought the screws was the problem. It wasn't, it was me and my pilot hole skills. I'm collecting an abundance of different size screws during this build. Like, I'll buy a box of 100 because they're just cheap, and then you only use about 5 or 10 or something, and then that's to one side. Now we need a different size screw. Right, another box of screws. Now we need a different size screw. It's insane how many screws I am collecting. Right, we've got 2 battens in. Now I just need to think about how we're going to shape this wall, because we need to scribe this side and this onto one of those nice big green pieces of wood, which I only have 8 of to do the whole van, so I can't really afford to waste any. And considering this shower is going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 probably just to do the shower, definitely can't afford to waste any. I'm going to make a template for the wall that we're going to put on the outside, so this will be the outside wall of the shower. I've screwed together a couple of bits of scrap ply that we had lying around. So what I've done is, if I can bring you in a little bit closer, I've just cut off the corners very roughly so that it fits close against that wall where the green board will eventually go. So obviously there's a gap down there, and what we're going to do is we're going to use a scribing tool, looks like this. I think I got it from Amazon, maybe. Could be Temu, I don't know. But essentially you put the little pencil in, this little roller goes down wherever you're scribing, and you draw with the pencil onto your template or onto your furniture board or whatever it is, the shape of the wall. So you just run down, keep the tool as perpendicular to the wall, or as parallel? Parallel. Is that one right? Whatever. Keep it as balanced as you can, go all the way down the wall, and it'll draw on the line that you're going to cut. Obviously, I'm going to do it from the other side. So I'm going to scribe down the inside of there with the tool. So we've got the line from almost the top, just the thickness of the actual tool itself, right the way down. I'm going to cut that out with a jigsaw and then see how it fits in and what it looks like. Right, we are pretty close. Like, if you can see the light coming through, it's less, it's like a millimetre at most, probably less than a millimetre all the way down. And I'm just thinking, am I happy enough with that? Can I get it closer? Does it need to be closer? Like, up here is going to be covered with cabinets, so you're not going to see that bit. Down there's chairs, so you're not going to see that bit. The only bit that's on display is this, and whatever cladding or decorative face we put on this is going to cover that gap anyway. So to be honest, I think I'm pretty happy with it. I've got the template out and I've put it on one of the full-size green boards. These things are bloody huge. They're full sheets, so they're 8 foot by 4 foot. I've just marked, so I know from the back of the shower tray to the front of where the board is going to be, I know how big that is. I think it's 72.3 centimetres or something. So I've just marked it on with it. I put a bit of tape on and marked it on. So essentially this will be on the floor next to the shower, and this edge will be the front of the shower. So they are cut square, so I don't have to faff with them. And then the idea is, if I line this up correctly on that edge, so that's the back of the shower, if you will, and then I just square this up with the base so that it's perfect. My thinking is, we trace this out, this edge, cut that out, and that should give us the piece perfect for what we need. So I'm going to put some tape underneath this edge and then trace onto the tape so I can see what's going. The tape will also help with minimising tear out on the green board, and I've got some fine tooth jigsaw blades which again will help with minimising the tear out. My biggest concern is actually cutting this thing because it's so big that I'm just trying to figure out like how I'm going to cut it. Even if I go around, I can't stretch over. I'm wondering if we just get the circular saw out and cut this chunk off in a straight line, and then the chunk at the top, at least it's making the board more manageable, and then we'll just cut this out. Might be worth doing. I forgot to press record on the camera, so let me catch you up. I've cut the big green piece down, cut the top off, cut the side off, and I have put tape around where the template is going to go. I've put the template on the top of the tape, lined it all up as perfect as I can, or as perfect as I think I can, and I've drawn around it. Now, to get the jigsaw out and very carefully go down that line. had a slight problem. Let me line this up. I put the piece in and I put it against the wall, and there was like a 5mm gap. I was like, why the fuck is there a 5mm gap? I tested the template again, absolutely fine. Couldn't work out where this gap was coming from. Anyway, sat here for like 20 minutes, asked Sam to come and help me. We're just sat here going, what the hell? And then we realised, where's my square? That this edge wasn't, I hope this is the right word, wasn't perpendicular to the floor. So it was tilted ever so slightly, which meant that there was a gap at the back. So I've had to sand ever so, just like about a 2mm on an angle, sand the base of this piece, and now I've put it in. You can see the line is very, very close. I'll show you the bottom as well. So I've got this, I think they call this a builder square or something. I've got this big square anyway, and I've lined it up now so that it is pretty much perfect. I don't think there's a gap there now. Yeah, that's spot on. Now we should have this lined up correctly. Can you see that on there? Yes, you can. That will be in line with that, like so. This will be the front of the shower, and we'll cut a hole for the door, obviously. I have discovered a new problem, and the new problem is I have ever so slightly put that, what do you call it, that batten like 5mm too far to one side. So what that means is when it's pressed up against it, this wall is ever so slightly leaning out. And that doesn't sound like much, but when we put the other walls in, it's not going to line up perfectly, and I don't want that. I want it to look and be spot on, and so it's as strong as it can be. So I think I'll just take that out. I don't know whether to readjust that now so that it's right, or put the other side, build the other walls, not connect it, and then put that in afterwards when I know where everything's going to go. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But on the plus side, look how nice my scribe is. Not perfect, the next one will be better. First time, I'm pretty happy with that. And we've got, I know it's not, you know, fixed in, but we've got what looks like a wall in the van, and I think that's really cool. I'm going to get some tea now because I'm hungry. It's been a whole day. I have put 2 battens in and cut 1 wall. This is the speed at which we are working. It is a new day, it is a cold day, but it's not raining, so that's a benefit. I'm going to make a start on the second wall, the one next to the one we've already cut. I'm not going to make a template. I'm going to cut a full board down to size, and then scribe the line directly onto the board, and hopefully that works, because that template yesterday was just a pain in the arse to make, a pain in the arse to line up, and I just don't think it's necessary. I might regret these words, but we'll see. So I need to cut a full board down. Let me show you how we do that. Because I'm limited on space and I've got these gigantic boards to cut down, I'm having to use the back of the van as a work table because I've got nowhere else. I've put underneath a couple of old scraps of MDF, because when we cut through this with the circular saw, I don't want to go through into the floor, so we'll cut into the MDF instead. Now I've got to mark this off. So the way I'm working this out is the bottom of the wall that's going to be resting on the floor is the longest point, so that is 70 centimetres width. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another couple of centimetres. I'm going to mark on at 72 and then start the cut at 70. So we'll scribe onto this, from the wall onto this at 70, so that's where the cut starts. So that's the longest part, and then it'll get into that arc and it should fit nicely in. So we're going to chop off at 72 a big length that way, and then we'll cut off the top at whatever the height of the ceiling is, and then we'll put that piece in, then scribe, and then use the jigsaw to go around it. So because this is dark and got a plastic coating, I don't want to take it off just yet. I'm just going to put a bit of masking tape on so I can make the mark. You want to see that? So 72, we'll put some masking tape all the way up, put a mark on and chop that down. And I'll show you how to chop that down in just a second. Now there's a couple of different ways to cut down this. If you've got a track saw, you can lay the track along those lines and just go straight down, which would be amazing, but they're expensive and I don't have one. You could just draw the line in whole, go down it with a jigsaw, that would be perfectly fine as well. I do want this to be as straight as possible, because if I use this piece on the next thing, I want that to be a nice clean cut. So I don't want to use a jigsaw. I've got, which I'm going to use, a circular saw. Sometimes they can go a bit skewy, so I've got a makeshift track which looks like this. A scrap bit of what is this? A scrap bit of chipboard and a guide rail, and essentially this is not, you know, this is not as accurate as a track saw, but essentially that line is near enough straight. So I'm going to line that up on there like that, and then I'm going to put the circular saw on and run down, and it should cut almost perfectly straight. I say almost because it's a piece of wood at the end of the day. Sam is inside working, but I'm going to need a bit of help because this is too big for one man. I'll just end up moving it, so I'm going to have to interrupt her. Get all the way down. Yeah. And that's that. I've put that piece in temporarily just close to the wall. I took a bit of a corner off there just so I can get it closer. I don't know if you can see on there, but the tape with the line on, that's our starting point. So that line, when we cut it, will be flush against that wall. So that's where we are going to start. Where's my scribing tool? So we'll take our scribing tool, we'll put the pencil on that line, because I know that's the right starting point there, and we'll work our way up and cut all of that off. I'm just going to put some tape on that cut line and then draw it on top of the tape so I can see it properly, and then we'll get it cut. I'm sorry, but that couldn't have gone much better. Look at that. Look at that. You've got to be happy with that, haven't you? Eh? That's much better than doing that stupid template. Right, that, like I was hoping, is perfectly lined up with the front of this, because this wall, when we put it in, use this as an example, this wall will go over the front of this piece, and what I'm thinking is put, what do you call them, pocket holes in this piece that go into that, and we'll put pocket holes in this piece which will go into the outside wall, if that makes any sense. So what I'll have to do is try and figure out how to do the outside wall first to this piece and then fasten this piece to this piece. So it's a bit of a jigsaw. These are the downsides of not framing, but the upsides are weight, money, time, space. So it's all fun, it's all fun. Remember when I said to you that I think I put this beam just slightly in the wrong place? I've temporarily taken out the one at the bottom because it was an awkward thing to get this in and out every 2 seconds to cut it down. But I'm just checking if it's upright, if it's, you know, if it's square to the floor, and it's not. When it's touching the beam, it's not. And I'm stood here thinking, why? I'm sure I measured this right, because the idea was, if you can see in line, there is a metal beam going all the way across, and I thought I'll put the walls of the shower one side here, one side there, and that space is 2 inches. And do you remember when I said to you, oh, I got these 2-inch battens? I bought some 2-inch battens, but they're not actually 2-inch. I think, what were they, 45 or something? They're not actually 2-inch, they're a bit short on each side, and that is why this feels like it's in the wrong place, and that the walls aren't perpendicular to the floor. So I need to get some wider beams to put one there, and have an actual 2-inch gap, and I think that solves the riddle of why there's that extra space. The process for this next wall is exactly what you have just seen, so let's skip all that recording and let's just get to it. Ta-da! Second side. It's starting to feel like a shower. I've been to the shop, changed those battens for the right size. It's a bit dark in here. Can we see? Can we see? I've just stuck one on the bottom. I've not attached it yet. I'm trying to see if I can. Right size, so I'll put a couple throughout, one on the ceiling. Right, I've got some holes to cut. The door itself, so the entrance to the shower, the hatch where the toilet is going to pull out of, but I think we'll do that after I've put it together because it'll be easier for me to line the toilet up, and the hole for the switchboards, all the cables to come out of, and the switchboard to go on front. I'm going to start with the main door. I need to leave, can you see what's going on? I need to leave enough space at the bottom for the shower tray, so obviously I don't cut and then there's a shower tray there. So I need a gap there. I need, I think it was 20mm for the door we're going to use. Is like this roll out door thing. So there's going to be a frame for that going along, so I need to leave about 20mm for that, and then I need to leave another 20mm for the rubber seal that we're going to put around this hole so that everything's protected. So there'll be a few inch gap here. I'll match the same on the top, and then I'll just come in a few inches on either side, and then that will be the door frame. Right, I've put the lines all the way around for the door. I'm going to give it a curved edge just because I always feel it looks a little bit more professional, a little softer look. So I'm just using anything round will do. I'm just using the inside of a roll of tape, line it up, draw around the inside, do that on all four corners, and then you've got your cut marks for those curved edges. Right, I'm going to cut the hole for the switchboard. I forgot to record, I added these battens to the outside wall of the shower where the switchboard's going to be. So this is going to be a double wall, and in between it is going to be all the cables running through. I added these battens so that the space was equal throughout. I just used some insert nuts into the green board and then bolted the battens through, tightened into the insert nuts, and they are like solid now. So I've got the switchboard. I'm not going to show you just yet. I'll do that on the next video when we do some wiring up, but I know the size of it, I know the size of the hole that's needed, so I've just marked that up on a bit of scrap paper. And I'll line this up, draw around it, and then cut that out, and that'll be that job done. Right, before I start, the fucking camera's down here. Before I start screwing this all together, I'm going to take out the shower tray, put the hole in, which I'm a bit nervous about, through the van. This is for the drain I'm talking about, and then fix the shower tray in. So that's permanent with some sealant, and then I can start building the shower around it, and then I don't have to do anything later on. Right, that's where the hole's going. Obviously I've just used a scrap bit of wood to put a hole in there that I'm just going to line up and put my foot on it so that me what do you call this bloody me hole cutter thing, whatever, doesn't slide about. As soon as I get like a couple of mil down, I won't need this, but I'll just line that up, put some weight on there, do a couple of mil. That's the floor, and we should be hitting a bit of insulation, and then eventually the metal. This is already bending and blunting. That's what you get for ordering things from Temu. I'm going to have to go to the shop and get a new one, definitely, because that's fucked. Alright, I've been to the shop, got a new one. Let's try it again. Well, that was easy and a lot thinner than I thought. Oh well, done. Quick little soup and sandwich break. I've just spent the last 2 hours pissing about with pocket hole screws because I couldn't figure out the settings. It's now pitch black. It's only like 5:30 or something. 5:10. So I'm pretty pissed off, but I'm going to continue because I'm going to run out of days. So I've got a big light on. I'm going to drill some pocket holes now that I think I've figured the rest. I figured the right settings out. So I'm going to drill the pocket holes that I need, and then I think I'll pack up and tomorrow screw it all together. good morning. Balance you out a little bit. Right, it's a new day, and it's a day to build a shower cubicle. I've been racking my brain all morning, making sure that I've ticked every box that I can before I start screwing all this together, because obviously I don't want to pull it back apart again. So I think I've ticked all the boxes. There's nothing left to do. I've marked everything in the right place, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I might as well just do it, ain't I? Okay, I have just lent everything up together just to make sure it all fits and it looks good. I'm very happy, it looks great. I need to clamp a couple of bits together. I'm going to have to ask Sam for some help. I am still married, by the way, she is here. It's just, we only do this on the weekends. Our weekends are mostly taken up by other stuff, and then she's working a lot at the moment because she's so busy, so she's inside working. So I'm going to have to disrupt her a little bit for a few minutes and get some help. Right, so I just want to run through what we're going to do before I do it, and then we can just fast forward to the bit of me doing it, because it'll be boring to watch. So, there is enough space at the bottom down there, because all this is going to be covered up, so we can put a couple of screws on the outside of this into the bottom of the shower base, so that's supported. The front of this is going to be pocket holed into this piece, and the front of this is going to be pocket holed into this piece. No, sorry, that way, that one into that one, and this one into the outside one. And there is battens. Let me take this off so you can see. If you come here and look in between, there is battens, one attached to the ceiling so everything can be connected to that, and then two in the middle, one attached to the floor, again everything can be connected to that. There is a hole on this side so that when we put the cables through the back, we can just grab them there, and this will be covered with the switchboard. So, if everything goes right, then we should be fully supported.
This is the daily struggle. We've got all these boards that we're using, but obviously everything's blocking it. You got it! The most awkward angles to try and get a fucking clamp.
It was all the bloody shit in the garage.
Brilliant. Okay. And action!
Right, just to show you, and then we'll continue. I pulled this and this piece out, so if you get in here, babe. Yeah. Just because that was covering the holes that I need to get to. Can you see on the camera, all right?
Yeah.
So we've pulled this out, clamped it together so it's in line, and held it, pocket screwed all the way down, and then we're just going to slide this back in, and then pocket screw this to this, and then this to the other one over there, and all seems to be okay.
How'd you feel?
Very, very pleased.
You should be.
It feels solid.
Solid.
I might put a small batten just there, just so I've got something to screw it into. But all this is going to be cupboard anyway, and fridge and toilet, so there's going to be loads more added to it.
Yeah.
This corner's going to be covered. That corner's going to be covered with just like a corner piece.
Okay.
We've gone off a little bit there, you know. It's nothing major. And then there's battens in the middle, which I've just put a piece of tape over where they are. I'm going to put a couple in there, and one in the top batten, and then it's just attached to everything everywhere then.
Fab.
So it's not going anywhere.
Amazing.
Job's
Shower
good.
in.
Is that the end of the video?
Don't know.
I think that's the end of the video.
Amazing.
What's next? Toilet, fridge, work our way along. Pretty happy.
Good. So you should be.
Sorry I've not been in the videos very much. I have been doing lots of work whilst Andy's been out here doing all the graft. But I am back and I will try and make sure that I'm in as many videos as possible. Please make sure you like and subscribe and put any comments down below. We'll make sure that anything that we've used in these videos is also added. And what's next?
Toilet.
Toilet. Toilet! Oh no! The toilet's next, and then it'll be the fridge, and then that whole section to the right of the shower. Thank you very much. Bye!